Roberto Duran.
Coming from Panama City, Panama, Roberto Duran.
He was the most macho fighter in boxing. Those demonic black coal eyes.
Hands of stone, Roberto Duran.
Roberto Duran brings an intensity and a fire into the ring, unprecedented in ring history of South America. He's one of the meanest looking fighters inside the ring, and he means it.
Hands of stone. Acknowledged by most to be the greatest lightweight in boxing history, he was a terror who intimidated opponents with sheer machismo.
You know, when I first saw Ali, I said, yeah, that's who I wanted to be. Like, I know I wanted to be a fighter, but then I saw Roberto Duran. I said, that's what the I want to be. There's people scared to look at him. The devil.
I mean, he looked at you with those dark, hollow, cold eyes. And he looked right through you. And sometimes that was just enough.
An intimidator who snatched souls like Shang Tsung.
Your soul is mine.
Manos de Piedra, Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. You were born and raised in the slums of Panama, right?
They were very poor, so he had to go out every day and try to make, living and sell newspapers or whatever just to get by.
Turning to boxing as a means to earn a living, Duran had to carry stones in his pockets in order to make the 127 featherweight when he debuted at age 16. Born in the slums of Panama, Duran and his family ran the streets day and night, shining shoes and selling papers to get by.
He found an order in a disorderly universe when he was a child in learning how to fight.
So then you turned pro at 16, which I guess in the U.S. here would be pretty young, but not so much there, right?
Poverty and despair have a way of forging our greatest warriors.
Where do prize fighters come? They come from desperate, poor circumstance.
Nothing creates the hunger to succeed like the hunger to eat.
But Duran was always my favorite just because he's a animal, man.
What a great night and a great showing for a future brilliant star on the horizon, Roberto Duran.
Hands of Stone.
He was nicknamed Hands of Stone early in his career for obvious reasons.
Roberto Duran es programado para pelear con el boricua Benny Huertas.
His aggressive, crowd-pleasing style made him an instant star in Panama.
And a man who is one, if not the, greatest lightweight champion of all time.
Now listen, you could choose which division. That's how great he is. He was a champion at lightweight, welterweight, junior middleweight, and I believe middleweight.
So we're all set to go with this one. It's a scheduled 10-round junior lightweight battle, special attraction, featuring the up-and-coming Roberto Duran from right here in Panama. Kobayashi comes in at 60 wins, 9 losses, 4 draws. I'm Sheridan here with this sports classic for you, Roberto Duran. And the reason I call it a classic is because Roberto Duran is going to be a future champion of the world. Look at that, he backs him up! Big shot! It drops the former champ! Roberto Duran has him down. He's not going to make it. 6, 7, 8, 9, and he's counted out to 10. Look at the crowd. They love Roberto Duran. He's going to be lightweight champion. I'll tell you, folks, if he gets that shot they're talking about against the lightweight champion Kenny Buchanan of Scotland, it'll be terrific.
And intimidated that we hadn't seen since Sonny Liston. Roberto Duran had that. Where he just stared at guys, cold, and just made them kind of like evaporate.
Speed, people don't throw him as fast, but he's very fast. Ferocity and savage punching, has great anticipation of punching. He's just all around marvel in the ring.
Some people would take their spirit out, just like be one of those kung fu movies where the guy just put his hand right through your chest. Yalla!
Boom, perfect timing.
He punched this guy so hard he messed up the tracking on this VHS. In his first title shot, Duran would take on fellow legend Ken Buchanan in New York City.
He was back in New York to fight lightweight champion Ken Buchanan.
The champion, Ken Buchanan of Edinburgh, Scotland, and the challenger, Roberto Duran of Panama City, Panama.
The champion, he's wearing red shorts, Ken Buchanan, 15 more for the lightweight championship of the world.
The challenger is working on a percentage. Yes, it is. Johnny scores at a knockdown.
I don't know of any other fighter who was quite that wild in the ring, and yet he was in control of himself as a boxer.
Duran almost as fresh as when he started.
He battered the champion over 12 rounds.
Now Duran, the challenger, is just dynamite with his right hand. Round 13.
Buchanan collapsed at the end of the round, and the fight was stopped.
Buchanan went down after the bell, holding his groin. The fight has been stopped. The fight has been stopped, and the winner, 21-year-old Roberto Duran of Panama.
Roberto Duran was now the lightweight champion of the world.
There's pandemonium in the ring as people are trying to get in there.
He was celebrated as a hero upon returning to Panama.
When he returned home, they declared a national holiday.
Hands of Stone began a reign of dominance over the lightweight division that would last 5 years.
You are a great defensive fighter, and I don't think people talk about that often. But you were able to stand in the pocket and make people miss you. And that was part of your offense, was having such a great defense.
Duran is called, I mean, if we read the sports pages here, one of the toughest punchers for his weight. He's a brawler, street fighter. Somebody said it's like being hit by a rock to be hit by this guy.
One knockout after another.
Duran is called Hands of Stone, and he can really rip you. The left hook is his big one.
Propelled by a fury unlike few have ever possessed, Duran ran his record up to an astonishing 82-1.
Greats like Joe Louis, all of those great fighters from the 30s, Roberto Duran has qualities of each one.
And here you're talking about a fighter that's only 20 years old, and you're comparing him with some of the greats of all time, the Robinsons, as you said, the Lewises and the Alis. Shows you what a great fighter he is.
Harry Greb, all of those maulers, fighters, men that stood right in front of you like he's doing now. He knows he's got this man in charge. He is punishing him. Hands of steel, hands of stone. Either way, he is one of the heaviest punchers for a little man that's ever been seen. You're trying to take his home and his money and his wife when you get in the ring with him, he says. You got to kill him.
I think his first loss was to Esteban de Jesus. He lost a 10-round decision.
At last, Duran would get a chance to avenge that loss.
The scene is Panama City. There's better than 15,300 on hand for this lightweight title. It is a big fight. It is revenge in the heart of Duran to stop this man for the lightweight championship of the world. Roberto Duran against Esteban de Jesus. De Jesus, calm, collected. Duran, hands of stone, ready to come out, looking. And the bell for round one.
Esteban dropped Duran in the first round.
They're both exchanging savage hooks. That's toe-to-toe action.
Duran would have to dig deep to overcome his rival.
Both mean business, but Duran is throwing everything he's got in his punch. De Jesus is a little bit more measured, a little bit cooler about everything. Maybe he can beat Duran. He's the only man to have done it.
He rematched against de Jesus and knocked out de Jesus back in the days when they went 15 rounds.
Barn burner so far, and it doesn't show any signs of letting up.
He knocked de Jesus out in Panama, outdoors.
He's down for the right hand. The count is being picked up. He looks like he's not getting up. He's sitting down there very comfortable. He's not getting up. He cannot. It's all over. It's over. They have awarded it to Roberto Duran. He keeps his title. Roberto Duran, the victor in his hometown in Panama.
Hands of Stone reigned over the lightweight division for 5 years as undisputed champion.
Thank you very much, Tom. Today's match marks Duran's 6th defense of the title. He won by stopping Ken Buchanan back in 1972.
He defended his title 12 times, accumulating a record of 62-1, with 54 wins coming by way of knockout. His fights were must-see events in Panama, where he was revered as a hero. With each spectacular knockout, his star rose.
He's out. Look out. He's out now. They should have knocked the referee.
The entire boxing world wanted to witness the famed Hands of Stone.
Nobody cared in those days about unbeaten. What they cared about is what Duran did, which is you fight the best guys out there.
And he fought so many great fighters at so many weight classes.
Villamar Fernandez to the right of your screen. Boy, Duran is dynamite.
He had great reflexes, great defense. He was aggressive, but he was an aggressive counterpuncher, an aggressive boxer. Not only was he aggressive, and he'd break it down, a great body puncher, good hand speed, great technique.
Wicked shot to the body that hurt Fernandez. No question, that was a left hook in the liver. That's one of the toughest shots to take in boxing. He's out. He's not going to get up. It's called a kidney shot by Roberto Duran. Shot a left hook to the liver. The lightweight champion of the world, his 6th title defense. He's knocked out 40 of 50 people he's fought. Can young Ortiz from Mexico stay in there with him, do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, it's going to be an interesting fight for the simple reason I don't know if Duran can handle a southpaw.
He's lost just once in his career in an over-the-weight match, and he later reversed that same decision. Duran is 24, Ortiz is 26, so age should not be too much of a factor.
Ortiz was viewed as a real threat to Duran.
I'm very intrigued by this fight. I'm watching Duran. He's not his usual confident self.
A skilled southpaw who was known for his toughness.
Remember, 135 is the limit for the lightweight championship bout. Round number 1. We're on. Duran. He is strong, and he likes to fight. Ooh, a right hand gets through on Ortiz.
Duran bullied him.
Look at the back on this young man, 135 pounds, and he's nothing but layers of muscle across that back.
Battering him round after round.
With his back to you. 135 pounds. A fighting machine, he likes it. Oh, and the challenger is down with a right hand uppercut. 17 seconds left in the round, and they're counting now. It's over, a knockout. With 14 seconds left. Roberto Duran is the champion. Still the champion of the world among the lightweights.
Roberto, he was in Rocky too, and he's supposedly Rocky's sparring partner. The way he could move his head just an inch, it's impossible to hit him.
A grudge match with Esteban de Jesus was set. A final fight to settle the rivalry once and for all.
Fight.
As a lightweight, I think he was unbeatable as a lightweight. Although he had his greatest fight as a welterweight.
A touching side story to this rivalry was how close these two warriors became. Esteban died of AIDS, and in a time when the disease was shrouded in misinformation, Duran lovingly embraced his greatest rival and told him he would always be the champ. Roberto was now struggling to make the 135 weight. He began ballooning between fights.
All right, let's go and see at Madison Square Garden the great fight between Roberto Duran and Monroe Brooks. And Gil Clancy, Duran looks to me to be a little heavy around the waist. I wonder how fit he is for this fight.
He would see a right hand coming and just ride with it.
And then return fire.
Yeah, come right back.
And then he could tie you up in the inside, tie one arm up, work you over, spin you around,
turn
make you
you
pivot.
And Duran from Madison Square Garden in New York, round 8, scheduled for 10. Duran just standing in there flat-footed now, measuring. Whoop! Down he goes. A hard left to the body. The left hook to the liver, Jim. That's it. It's all over. Arthur McCanty says, sorry, Monroe. You've really had enough. It was a left to the body.
Despite his historic reign, Duran was still relatively low paid. If Duran wanted to make millions, he would need to move up to welterweight and take on bigger names.
Nobody wanted to fight him. There were no opponents, and they would wait for him to get weight and then try to make him fight. Nobody will spar him.
Roberto Duran hardly needs any advertisement. The undisputed lightweight champion of the world. He outgrew in weight the lightweight classification. He's moved on upward to this, the welterweight classification. Regaled by the press, and deservedly so, as the fighter of the decade of the 70s. 70 fights in all, 69 victories.
And Roberto Duran attempting to prove he can make that transition from 135 to 147 pounds. Of course, a legend as the lightweight champ.
In the crowd, Sugar Ray Leonard witnessed Duran taking more shots than normal, sparking the idea that Duran was vulnerable.
Good exchange in which Wellington got in a couple of good combinations. Roberto got in his usual sledgehammer.
Leonard saw a chance to knock out Duran because Duran was slower at the higher weight.
but he wasn't as strong as he's going to be. The last fight, he wasn't quite as strong. This fight, he's stronger. The next fight, he's going to be very strong. As I told you, the monster is loose and on the way to the title.
Leonard knew what knocking out the famed Hands of Stone would do for his reputation.
I think that after this particular fight, the press will realize that the guys that they say Sugar Ray can't deal with, or this guy's too strong for Sugar Ray, Sugar Ray can't punch, Sugar Ray has not been in the ring with anyone that is a legitimate fighter, these statements I will be able to silence completely, once and for all.
And so the super fight between Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran was set. Sugar Ray thought he was facing a big name on the downside of his career. He thought wrong.
We were watching the news. Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard.
I think he made the order for Sugar Ray. I think Duran, because his style, he walks in, wide open, and the other fella's so fast, and he's such a great boxer.
Few gave Duran a chance.
Sugar Ray never stopped him. Why? I think he's a much better fighter than Roberto Duran.
In the boxing game is listed as the 9-5 favorite among the odds makers.
Truly motivated by a real challenge, Hands of Stone was ready.
Well, Sugar Ray Leonard, who fights with a flair, and Roberto Duran, who fights with a fury, square off tomorrow night in Montreal for the WBC welterweight title.
In Panama, the entire country watched their hero. It would be a historic clash. Most of the world believed Duran would be outmatched against Sugar Ray at welterweight.
I've talked to fighters that have fought him, and everyone underestimates him. They think they can win until they're in the ring with him.
Sugar Ray Leonard defending against the challenger Roberto Duran.
You had something to hide.
There, Roberto Duran in his dressing room. Intense. He has approached this fight with an almost religious fervor.
He was Roberto Duran against the undefeated, ever popular Ray Leonard. Beats him.
Sugar Leonard was a welterweight. He got beat by Roberto Duran, who was a lightweight.
Hands of Stone had defeated the previously undefeated Sugar Ray Leonard to become the welterweight champion of the world.
The new champ signed autographs and talked to friends in Midtown Manhattan. Roberto Duran, hero and giant killer.
He won the first fight with Sugar Ray. He was on top of the world. He was the king. He went out and started doing what he does when he's not fighting. Party, eating, drinking.
How much did he blow up, would you say?
I forget. I think he was close to 40 pounds.
And so Ray demanded that the rematch be in 6 weeks. So, Duran is in New York just partying it up for like 3 weeks. They call him from Panama, say, hey, you got to come and train. You're fighting in 3 weeks. And he was close to 200 pounds.
From Roberto comes and making that little bit of money, fighting as a lightweight for all them years and not making millions, he wasn't going to pass it up.
But this guy gains weight and loses weight faster than anybody this side of,
Well, this side of Tommy Lasorda.
He was out of training. After a fight, he'd put on tremendous amounts of weight. I mean, 30, 40 pounds over what he should be fighting at.
He doesn't like to train anymore. He sometimes appeared listless, even uncoordinated.
Unable to pass up the massive payday, Duran took a fight he knew he couldn't properly prepare
Of
for.
course, he fluctuates in weight so badly. Back in October, Roberto Duran may have weighed as much as 190 pounds.
But he catches a right and left, lands all right. That's the Sugar Ray Leonard punch that drew the crowd. These two men do not like each other.
This time, Leonard danced.
What I heard, he was up to pretty close to 200 pounds, from 147 to 200.
Leonard came to fight then, as you said, Larry, confidence personified.
Very confident. And if he can do this for 15 rounds, then you have a new champion.
Preying on Duran's lack of conditioning, Leonard made a joke of the fight. He showboated and mocked hands of stone.
Doing a little dodging now and a little Ali. He's taunting Duran.
As the fight progressed, Duran knew he was simply in no shape to fight.
And he's got Duran openly, not just furious, but puzzled. He is taunting Duran. Duran troubled by the movement.
He said when the Sugar Ray started clowning around, he said, that's it. There's going to be a third fight. And in the third fight, I'm going to be the real me again.
The infamous moment.
And what's happening? Duran says no.
No mas.
I think he's quitting. He said no more. And then he did it a second time.
No, I don't understand.
He's saying no, he quit.
I don't understand this.
I think Duran quit.
I don't understand.
Duran has quit. Roberto Duran has quit.
Angry at being made to look the fool, Duran uttered the famous words and quit.
I hold no respect for him as far as a man's concerned. I respect him as a fighter, don't get me wrong. I respect him as a fighter and as his accomplishments, his credentials. But as a man, I don't. I cannot.
Daban piedras a la casa, insultaban a Roberto, que era un vendido, que esto y que el otro.
It was a stain on Duran's character.
Roberto Duran, after the No Mas fight, became a pariah. He was despised by most of his countrymen.
Even his own countrymen turned against him. The stink of No Mas still hung over Duran when he challenged the unbeaten WBA 154 champion, Davey Moore.
David Moore?
David Moore.
Yeah.
To come back after the No Mas and everybody was like, he's on his way out, and then do what he did. It just, that right there was inspiration for me. Like, man.
She's like the wind.
It was less of a fight and more of a therapeutic release for Duran. All the anger of No Mas was unleashed on the unsuspecting champion, Davey Moore. The spectacular win put Duran back in the limelight. This prompted the Marvelous One to give Duran a title shot.
You can hear this crowd very much, apparently, in the corner of Roberto Duran.
Be prepared for a flash knockdown.
First round. Listen to this crowd. The crowd is absolutely electric.
A fight no one gave Duran any chance in.
Hagler scoring more effectively there. That was a good left hand to the body, and there's a good right hand by Duran.
Duran was well out of his natural weight class and was now wading into some serious deep water against the far bigger Marvin Hagler.
That time was Hagler with a counter punch, comes back with a right hand.
Hagler was an action fighter who never ran from back and forth exchanges.
And there was a left hand. Duran says, no, I'm not hurt. It did stop.
For the substantially smaller Duran to go the distance with this beast during the height of his reign was simply remarkable.
If you want an editorial on this fight, let the crowd give it to you.
For the winner by unanimous decision, and still the undisputed middleweight champion of the world.
The strong showing in the Hagler fight prompted another big day for Duran against Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Duran had never been knocked out.
He has returned as Thomas the Hitman Hearns.
Yeah, you got these two gunslingers coming out, you know, Clint Eastwood. You're going to have a shootout. You're just going to have a shootout.
Round one then, Roberto Duran.
You remember the old westerns? The gunslingers? You know, that was Clint Eastwood with that music. Can you do that music for me?
Hearns was 25 and in his prime. Duran was 33 and well over his natural weight class.
Against Roberto Duran when you knocked him spark out.
That's gotta be it! That's gotta be it in the second, and Hearns has done what he said he'd do.
Duran's a guy who had never been knocked out.
But now, one round, all those people that doubted him, and doubted his charisma, and doubted his fighting ability, by stopping one of the toughest fighters the game has ever seen in the second round. But his punching was explosive.
And the Hitman did what he's become famous for.
The knockout seemed like the end. Sidebar. I've got a pretty sick documentary on Tommy here on this very YouTube channel you're watching. Subscribe and click the bell. At age 38, Duran took a fight against the WBC middleweight champion, the Blade, Iran Barkley. Barkley had just demolished Tommy Hearns.
You know, Al, there's a saying in boxing, a fighter can look like he's in great condition. All of a sudden he walks up the stairs, the bell rings, and he doesn't have it anymore. That's happened to Roberto Duran like 3 times. This is going to be some test for a 37-year-old guy against a tough guy like Iran Barkley.
Many suspected this fight would be the final nail in the coffin of Duran's career. It appeared his glory days were long gone.
There she
So he was, and still is, he's the most famous Panamanian today.
Is still the hero of the Latino boxing fan. Didn't matter, he's Panamanian, Mexican, and Puerto Rican.
Oh, he's out. Oh, look out. He's out now. They should have knocked him out in the 14th round.
Roberto Duran continued fighting for many more years, ultimately finishing with a record of 103 wins, 16 defeats, and 70 knockouts. Considered by many to be the greatest lightweight ever.
Pound for pound, the best fight of the last 2 decades. A man who intimidates opponents with those angry eyes.
Roberto Duran. Hands of stone.
Nobody brings it home like it. Joe? Vincent. Nobody. Make it so.